Delivering this season's third edition of CNN 10, I'm Carl Azus. It's great to have you watching our daily explanation of world news. We told you the other day how threatening statements between North Korea and the U.S. were going back and forth, and how North Korean officials had discussed firing missiles toward the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam. Earlier this week, U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis said that if North Korea did that, it would be game on, adding, quote, "You don't shoot at people in this world unless you want to bear the consequences." Yesterday, North Korea's government-controlled media reported that leader Kim Jong-un had discussed the Guam proposal with his military officers, but that he'd, quote, "watch a little more the foolish and stupid conduct of the Yankees," indicating Kim had backed off the Guam threat for the time being. At this point, both North Korea and the U.S. seem to be suggesting that it's up to the other side to determine what happens next. It's not certain how or if the North will react to the upcoming military exercises between the U.S. and its ally, South Korea. Those start next week. And because of the recent threats specifically made against Guam, there are concerns on the island as well.
Kickoff on game day in Guam. Teenagers from the Guam Giants and the Southern Cowboys go head-to-head. Cheered on by pint-sized cheerleaders. From the sidelines,
let's go Cowboys! Let's go boys!
Patrick Flores and his son Patrick Jesus Flores root for their family's team. The two men share more than their support for youth football.
Father and son, you're both serving in the military.
Yes, absolutely. Because my dad just want to be like him, follow in his footsteps and serve, protect my family, protect my island, and serve my country.
In 2013, both father and son shipped out to Afghanistan for a year with their National Guard battalion.
That must have been tough for the family, right?
Yes. Really, really tough.
In fact, at least 8 members of the Flores clan all joined in that deployment. Sergeant Flores says military service is part of the culture on Guam.
Patriotic. We're just that patriotic type of island.
The U.S. military says Guam, with its population of more than 160,000 people, boasts the most personnel in the military per capita in the U.S. In addition to high enlistment rates, the military maintains a permanent presence here, controlling a third of the island's territory, including an air base and a naval base with a small fleet of submarines. And yet, Guam is also an island paradise that attracts hordes of tourists.
We sell paradise and we sell strategic location. There's a delicate balance on those two. We need to maintain that balance.
Since Guam is a U.S. territory and not a U.S. state, residents do not have the right to vote for the U.S. president, and Guam has no say in the passage of U.S. laws.
On the other side of Asia, in the Middle Eastern country of Syria, evidence of destruction in the nation's civil war is virtually everywhere. It started in 2011, it's still going on. Hundreds of thousands of Syrians have been killed, and more than 10 million people have either left their homes or the country altogether. Symbolic of all this is the ancient city of Aleppo. It used to be the largest city in Syria. Relentless bombardment, explosions, and fighting, mainly between Syrian government forces and the rebel groups fighting them, have left only rubble and shells in parts of Aleppo. The Syrian regime completely recaptured it in December. Fighting there has stopped. We're going in to see what's left.
We're in Aleppo today, which obviously was a city very much at war just a couple of months ago. Now, the fighting has stopped, but of course there's still big differences between the east side, where the rebels used to be, and the west side, which was always government held. In a couple of seconds, you'll see us go from a relatively intact part of western Aleppo to what you see right in front of us here. I mean, just look at this. When we used to go here, the road would just end and there would be tarps hanging everywhere and checkpoints, because the other side is where the opposition-held areas would begin. And now all of that is just gone. This is one of the most historic places in the world. I mean, this town's been around for 5,000 years. So, wow, I mean, just look how destroyed this area is. There really isn't, say, almost a single building in the east of Aleppo that was left untouched. a lot of people, even if their houses are almost completely flattened, like some of the stuff that you see on the sides here, they still try to come back and try to rebuild. So a lot of people still rely on aid. They come here with a ration card, as you can see. I mean, you can really see how desperate some folks are here. People are literally hurrying, running to try and get some of the handouts. Look over there. Look at the commotion over there, because there's bread being handed out. Life is coming back. It's difficult and it's going slowly, but you can really see how things are changing here in eastern Aleppo.
Ten-second trivia. Scientists say that the total solar eclipse on August 21st will last how long? More than 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 20 seconds, exactly 4 minutes, or less than 3 minutes? Though enthusiasts have waited on this for months, the upcoming total eclipse will last only 2 minutes, 43 seconds. And according to Space.com, that's because the moon's shadow will pass over the U.S. at an average speed of more than 1,600 miles per hour. So if you're standing and watching in one place, it won't last long. And if, like most Americans, you're not in the exact path of totality, where the moon appears to completely cover the sun, CNN.com/eclipse will have live 360-degree coverage so you can see it virtually, if not personally. There are a number of changes that happen in the places that are directly in the moon's umbra or shadow, and reactions are expected across the animal kingdom.
The rhythm and motion of the natural world. Birds chirping, insects buzzing, spiders weaving, farm animals grazing. Together, a tapestry of flora and fauna. But then, a sudden disruption in the cosmos, a solar eclipse. As the moon blocks out the sun, the earth suddenly grows darker and cooler, and the animal kingdom reacts. According to researchers, birds stop singing and cower in their nests. They get quiet, but the bees get louder. A restless buzzing emanates from their hives as they quickly fly in and out. On the farm, chickens and cows return to the barn. They believe night has come early and anxiously seek the safety of their shelters. For nocturnal animals, the eclipse is an alarm clock. Bats and owls become more alert and come out to feed. It lasts for just minutes, but then almost as quickly as it came, the eclipse passes and daylight returns. Confused and apprehensive creatures pierce the eerie quiet with an explosion of sound, welcoming the sun back to the sky.
Justin Jenneman doesn't have the biggest name in college football. He's a third-string kicker at the University of Minnesota. His coach says Justin's not a star. He hasn't had that much playing time. But he recently got a recognition he won't forget. Justin volunteers at a children's hospital. So his coach brought in Kyle Tanner, a patient at that hospital, to talk to the team and test out a new t-shirt cannon. Kyle said Justin was one of his favorite players because he visits the hospital so often. So Kyle fired a t-shirt at Justin. He caught it, and on the back were the words, "Justin, congrats on earning a scholarship." The crowd went wild. The coach said he's never seen anybody serve and give more than Justin. But he probably won't give you that shirt off his back. It fits the upright player to a T. It seems to embody sportsmanship, scholarship, and fellowship, and it's a great kicker to this show. I'm Carl Azuz for CNN 10, and you're only one day away from more news and features.